Hello everyone. Well, today we are going to see how to make a good story, how to write a good story. Look at the tenses that we are going to use. Remember that in the story, in general, you tell events. Here we have an example. The fire broke out, the soldiers demolished a large warehouse. So in a story, you basically have a list of actions. One action, then another action, then another action. So we normally use the simple past. Can you see? Broke, demolished. This is in the past. Apart from this, we are going to use other tenses to make your story more interesting and of course to get a better mark in your writings. Look at this. Landon was sleeping. In what part of the story would you find this sentence? At the beginning, in the middle, or at the end of the story? Landon was sleeping. Of course, it's at the beginning because this sentence sets the scene. What's the meaning of set the scene? Describes the situation. What was going on when the fire broke out? Look at the tense. It's past continuous. Was. It's always was or were. And the verb with ing. Was sleeping. What's the meaning of set the scene? Set the scene means describe the situation. It's like when you watch a film on Netflix. Let's suppose that you're watching a thriller. It's about a murderer, a killer who entered a house. So first you see the camera shooting the family. The mother was cooking, the father was watching TV, the children were playing. So this is the scene, the situation, before the main action. The main action is when the man entered, when the man broke in. But first the camera has to show the situation, set the scene. Let's see another example. The workers were making bread when suddenly a fire broke out. Look at this sentence. How many verbs are there? Right, there are two verbs. Were making and broke out. So here there are two actions, but one is a long action and the other one is a short action. Let's see. If you look at broke out, the fire broke out. Is it a long action or a short one? It's a short one. The fire broke out was 1 minute. The fire suddenly broke out. And if you look at the other action, were making, it's a long action. The workers were making bread for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, when suddenly a fire broke out. And in this case, the fire broke out interrupted the action of making bread. So there is a long action with the past continuous, were making, were, and the verb with ing, and there is a short action, the fire broke out, in the simple past, that interrupts, that stops the action of making bread. Notice that how do you put these two ideas, these two actions together with when? When a fire broke out. When is always before the short action. You can also say when the fire broke out, the workers were making bread. The important thing is that when is before the short action. Instead, while, look at this, while the workers were making bread, a fire broke out. It's the same, but here while goes before the long actions. While the workers were making bread, a fire broke out. Let's see another tense that's very useful in a narrative, in a story. The fire had been raging for 4 days. This is called past perfect continuous. You will notice that it's similar to present perfect continuous, the one we saw in Unit 1. Look at the form. Had been and then the verb with ing. And what do you notice here? for 4 days. So it expresses how long, it expresses the duration of the action for 4 days. You can also use since September the 2nd. Look at this other example. They had built their houses in wood. They hadn't thought that was possible. Look at the form of these verbs. Had and the past participle, or hadn't and the past participle. The important thing is that these actions are before the fire. They had built their houses in wood. At the moment of the fire, no, they had built the houses perhaps 1 year before, 2 years before, 3 years before the action of the fire. They hadn't thought that was possible. Of course, they hadn't imagined the fire, but that was before the fire. When the fire broke out, of course, they could imagine. Let's go back to our story of the family. You can say that the children were playing Monopoly because they had done their homework. They had finished their homework before. So it's a good combination to use past perfect when you are telling a story. Another thing that makes your story better is the use of verbs. Different verbs. You have here at page 22 a list of good vocabulary. For example, one of the verbs is scream. So if you write they screamed, it's much better than if you write shouted. Shouted is a very common expression. Screamed is better because it's more descriptive. So do the exercises in the book, and I hope this explanation helps you. And see you again next time. Continue working hard. I know that you're working very, very hard, so continue like that. Bye bye.